Hello everybody, it's me, Riffraff Hornhelm, and I'm back again with another presentation from the Dwarven Vault, and today we have a monster review. And today's monster is the MITE. And the MITE comes to us from the original Fiend Folio for use with Advanced Dungeons & Dragons First Edition rules, or what's typically called 1E today. Now the MITE is, well, a mite small, ha ha ha. And it's a very, very tiny creature, only 2 foot tall, that hangs out in underground dungeons and makes its living by, well, trapping, beating, and robbing adventurers. My kind of creature is a TM. They don't have any real special abilities. They're only 1/-1 hit dice. They have an armor class of 8, so not very good. Combined with this 1/-1 hit dice, yeah, it's low intelligence, and they're evil, lawful evil. Nasty little critters. They have this twittering type voice that's squeaky, and adventurers can often hear them off in the distance, but they can't see them. They'll hardly ever see them, and certainly a MITE will never openly attack a party. Well, then how do they get their victims? Well, that's pretty simple. They build traps. Something else as a DM I really enjoy. Because that's what they do. They build traps and nets and so forth, and they'll find a way to isolate and capture a character, a player. And once they do, they bring out these, well, essentially it's like a blackjack, and they beat the snot out of you. And they're 90% likely to successfully subdue you while you're trapped and beating you with these soft clubs. Nasty, but fun. Now, I find these to be useful as, well, shall we say, a lesson giver. If you have somebody who's being a real pain in the butt in the party, and they haven't yet generated enough of your wrath to make you want to kill them, these can send a pretty fun message. Not that tough to do, and you can definitely have fun with them. Because, once again, I mean, you could use these to, well, maybe send a small message to annoying players and have not only yourself be gratified as a DM, but the other players tend to get a kick out of it as well. So really annoying more than killing. They can attack once they have you. They can bite you for 1 to 3 points of damage. Not much. And they typically show up in groups of 4 to 24 if they're a wandering. That's kind of a fun creature. It doesn't really do any significant damage, but it can be an awful lot of fun, especially if you have a low-level group where you're trying to help them learn the game without necessarily killing them every other week. Of course you can, but, well, I do too. But still, it's better if you can let them live through the experience. You know, humiliation and a drubbing is probably better than slitting their throat and looting the body. Well, I guess it depends on what character you are, but that's okay. So, of course, if us dwarves ever run across these things, yeah, we have a few times, but not very often. They don't tend to hang around the dwarven caverns very much. They're more interested in hanging out in complexes or tunnels that are more likely to draw adventuring parties, because that's what they do. So I guess that makes some sense. So yeah, we know of them. We've seen them a few times, just in passing moments, but that's pretty much it. Now in the gaming world, though, it's a little bit different. I went out and I talked to DMs and players both about this. And this wasn't very well known, which is a shame because I think it's a fun little thing to throw into your dungeon. But it wasn't very well known. And in talking to the DMs, I only found a couple who had ever used them before. They said really for their size and what they do, They're not a difficult encounter, but they're a very fun encounter, and they gave them a 1.5, maybe a 2 at the outside, just because of how much fun they could have with it. Players looked at it more as a, pretty much a straight up 1, and they were annoyed with them and annoyed with the DMs who chose to use them. Sounds like a bunch of whiny people to me, but hey, that's just my view on it. You wouldn't know I do any DMing, right? So really, in talking to the overall group, it's not going to get a real high ranking from anybody. But if I had to rank this on fun factor, I'd probably rank it several notches higher. Just my view. Cool creature. Consider using it in your dungeon. It's kind of like using a diet creature because it's not really going to cause that much heartache to your party. So that, my friends, is the MITE. We hope you found today's presentation to be interesting, educational, amusing, all that kind of good stuff. If you did, please be so kind as to leave us a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't. But most of all, come back and see us again real soon. We very much appreciate your kind support. Take care, everyone, and remember, dwarves rock!